Hey folks, it's Real Honesty with John Ritlin. I'm John Ritlin, and I talked about 10 things that WWE got right in 2016. Now let's look at the things they got wrong. 10 things, and I'm not going to go through everything because that would probably be an hour-long show, because WWE's had their own issues this year as opposed to the last few years. Look, wrestling's not in the best state that it's been, at least mainstream wrestling. A lot of indies seem to be doing okay. Japan's doing okay. TNA's not doing so well, despite being saved for the 11 billionth time. Ring of Honor might be getting rated, but anyway, this is just me talking about 10 things in WWE that they got wrong. Number 10, Sasha and Charlotte, the feud that never ends. Look, Sasha and Charlotte can produce some great matches, in NXT, in WWE, and even before the brand split, had produced, had been part of a couple good matches. The Mania 32 three-way with Becky Lynch in particular. But by now, it's like since July especially, since just after Battleground, they flip-flopped the titles so many times, the title's lost its meaning. And the feud's hopefully going to get blown off at Roadblock End of the Line. But it's just a feud that never ends, and I mean, you got Bayley, you could include her in it. I mean, they seem to scrap the whole thing with Bayley and Charlotte having some kind of feud after Charlotte attacked Bayley right at the end of the Survivor Series match, or right after the match was over. They seem to drop something with Nia and Sasha possibly feuding, because Nia even got in Sasha's face recently. They dropped that. Dana Brooke's not anywhere close to being ready to compete for the title, but they also have Alicia Fox, and I'm sure there's another woman that I'm forgetting, but the whole point is that you can mix these women in there and you can have more matches. Even though Sasha and Charlotte can produce some classics, the feud's gone on way too long. It's going to soon become the female version of Orton versus Cena. That is not a good thing. After Roadblock, they need to go their separate ways, which is hard to do on a brand where you only have about, maybe 7-8 women. Number 9, lengthy pre-shows. You're not football, WWE. Stop doing it. Yes, they've taken steps to amend it by the Raw and SmackDown previews, I guess, or pre-shows only being maybe 10 to 15 minutes now, which is good. It's been about long overdue because you want to do a little thing like, hey, here are going to be these matches tonight. Cool, you can sell people on that. You don't need 30 minutes to do that each week. But yeah, the lengthy pre-shows, and the lengthy pre-shows even for the big events. I mean, WrestleMania, I get it, or Super Bowl, but you only need an hour-long pre-show for the Rumble, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. You do not need 2 hours. I don't care if they're your big 4 pay-per-views. The other pay-per-views, the B pay-per-views, half-hour pre-show. That's all you need. Whether you're going to have celebrity guests or whatever on there, you only need a half hour to promote it. Because you got tons of TV, whether it's a Raw or SmackDown exclusive show, or whether it's a co-brand pay-per-view. Stop with all the lengthy, especially pay-per-view pre-shows. Number 8, Ambroses Champion. I love Ambrose. I love the fact that he cashed in successfully on Seth Rollins and Money in the Bank. Was champion for a few months. And he carried it well, and hey, it was great to see Ambrose with the championship. The problem is, yeah, creative kind of screwed it up, but also Ambrose had no steam going into his cashing in. I mean, yes, he had won the briefcase earlier in the night, but he, just a few months before that, had been, destroyed by Brock Lesnar, and in a match that was pretty well hyped and pretty much ended up being shit. They had that happen, and then, yeah, it's just Ambrose went in won the title almost with no steam. It was for shock value, don't get me wrong, and shout out to @WWE Fan 1991, but apparently it was done in part because he was going to be featured on Total Divas, or Renee is going to be featured on Total Divas, which therefore means Ambrose, her boyfriend, will be featured. Hence why maybe he won the title. That's rumored to be one reason why. I would like to think it's just because Ambrose also earned the respect of people by telling it like it is, being real, but also being a really good workhorse. I can't name really a time that he's been injured in WWE. And if he's been injured, it hasn't been for very long. But yeah, Ambrose is champion. Sadly, it just ended up not going well. Number 7 rather, Misuse of Talent. Cruz, Darren Young. Darren Young, they had vignettes for about 5,000 years, and then now he's back on Superstars, or Main Event, or whatever, which is horrible. Especially considering Darren Young's no more than an IC, U.S. champion level guy once anyway. But he can still be used better than this. And Cruz, dear God, why call Cruz up if they're not going to use him at all? He would have been better off just staying in NXT and competing for stuff because they've done next to nothing with him. And Cesaro especially. I mean, the best they're doing with him is teaming him up with Sheamus. Sure, that team might work in the end, but Cesaro should have been competing. I'm not saying regularly for the Universal Championship, but you're telling me an Owens versus Cesaro feud wouldn't have been interesting? And also Sami Zayn. Dear God, they've botched Sami Zayn since Battleground so badly, it is insane. Zayn, and I mean, this is a whole lot of, unintentional rhyming. Zayn is somebody that could be a Daniel Bryan-like talent in the sense that he's, an underdog guy, but he's really, really good and really likable, and he can deliver damn good matches with anybody. So those guys in particular, there are others, and feel free to leave them in the comments about other talents that were underutilized, and not just on Raw, but on SmackDown also. But anyway, number 6, letting Cody go. He should have been used better. Now, okay, to be fair, Cody may have been burned out and just tired of how he was being used and wanted to leave. That's fine. He seems to be doing okay in Ring of Honor. A couple spots he had in TNA. I believe he's at the next Wrestle Kingdom show in New Japan. And he's wrestled in Evolve and a few other promotions, and he's done pretty well. His wife may want to, invest in a little bit more training because she seems like she's still learning the ropes and probably isn't ready for TV yet. But that's neither here nor there. It's just a damn shame that WWE did not see the money in Cody being Cody and not Stardust, and they let him go. Even they granted him his release, but still. It's just such a shame. Because Cody, worlds and worlds of talent. I mean, he should have at least been a WWE champion once. But sadly, probably about peaked where he, peaked and stayed where he was going to stay, whether he was Cody or not. It's just such a shame that they gave him such a lame character like Stardust. So I get why they did, and I'm glad for Cody. He seems happier on the Indies and other promotions above indie level. But it's just such a shame that WWE couldn't use him better. Number 5, Cruiserweights on Raw. Boy, they botched this horribly. Yes, they had a good feud with Kendrick and Perkins. And they use the talents good, or they, featured the talents and featured vignettes, but until the 205 Live special, I forgot that half of the guys even existed. And now you got the Cruiserweights exclusive to Raw, yet 205 Live after SmackDown is going to have the Cruiserweights. WWE has no idea what exclusive means, apparently, anymore. They don't know the definition of words. But whatever, I mean, it's just, they botched the whole thing. Even if some of the matches are really, really good, a lot of times they were interrupted by commercials or cut short, and the talents could work really, really well, but they need to be feature better. Hence, I guess why maybe they're realizing to a 205 Live they might want to do that. And maybe they can have something like a stipulation where a SmackDown wrestler will face a Raw wrestler for the Cruiserweight title. Somebody could beat Rich Swann for it. Or if somebody beats Rich Swann and doesn't even win the title, but they beat him, even if it's non-title, then the Cruiserweights go to SmackDown and they just have that. And whatever, because SmackDown could use the Cruiserweight so much better, especially with the 205 Live special. I mean, you might as well do that. Raw is just not using them right. They're just not. It's really sad. Number 4, making Rusev a bad guy. Or keeping Rusev as a bad guy, because he's been a heel anyway. But he's been defending his wife's honor against Roman Reigns, against Enzo and Cass, and there have been other people too. I mean, he was even sympathetic as a babyface last year. Or he was a heel, but he garnered so much sympathy because of that feud with Ziggler, where Ziggler hooked up with Lana and Rusev hooked up with Summer, and it was a horrifying angle and made me want to drill, put a concrete drill into my skull. But they keep making it like, oh, Rusev's a bad guy, you need to boo him. He's defending his wife's honor. To me, I think Rusev could be turned babyface, and I think it could work. Eventually, maybe make it a slow turn or something. But yeah, it's like, because I've heard interviews with the guy, I've seen him on Up Up Down Down, Xavier Woods, Austin Creed's show, but Xavier Woods on WWE TV, on his YouTube show. Rusev's a really likable guy. And I mean, one, they need to have him drop the accent, because he still has some of an accent in interviews, but not nearly as crazy and as thick. But yeah, Rusev, making it seem like he's the ultimate bad guy and whatever, when all he's doing is defending his wife's honor, yeah, that's pretty admirable and not really a heel move. Also, Vince, stop trying to break up Rusev and Lana in their marriage. They're happy just because you feel that somebody like Rusev should not be with Lana. Vince, you're insane. I mean, you're clearly insane. It's either Vince or Kevin Dunn, and I mean, I could take any opportunity to blame Kevin Dunn for the fact that he's an absolute idiot that doesn't know what he's doing. But I'm going to keep rolling with this list. Number 3, Reigns is WWE Champion and not turning him heel. Because it goes hand in hand. One, they missed the opportunity to really make him an interesting WWE Champion. I did a fantasy booking thing, by the way, on a playlist where I think it was about a 15 or 20 minute video at my best friend's house earlier this year about booking Reigns properly and building up to him being the champion one time, not winning it 3 times for the 3rd time by Mania 32, but winning it once at Mania 32. But they ruined all that, and then they ruined it by not turning him heel because the crowd wanted to boo him, and they ruined it by not turning him heel after he came back from his suspension, his drug suspension, which, by the way, nice job on that, WWE. You're probably going to make him champion by roadblock. Great deal there. Proves that your wellness policy matters, doesn't it? But not turning him heel is a big, big move, or big mistake, because even though people are booing him, might as well make him a heel because people are going to boo him anyway. They're going to boo him. They don't like him. Some fans don't. I mean, some fans do, and I don't despise Reigns. He can wrestle more than his haters say. He can't wrestle as well as some of his, great believers say. But yeah, they botched this thing with Reigns. Number 2, Rollins returning as a heel. Should have returned as a babyface. Did you see that WWE 24 special? My God, how could you not cheer for a guy that worked hard, and tried to come back in time for Mania 32 from an injury that probably should have kept him out until SummerSlam? The man came back, the man healed well, and has delivered great matches since then, and they made him a heel, and then they wondered why now people are kind of lukewarm on Seth Rollins as a babyface when they botched that whole damn thing. That was a pretty big mistake. And number 1, pay-per-views, Raws that ran too long. Raw already is 3 hours and 15 minutes if you want to count the pre-shows. And then they have the Raw Fallout or whatever. Now they have the Raw pre-show to try Raw Talk to counteract Talking Smack. But at times the Raw broadcasts on USA will run 10 to 15 minutes over. Now, already 3 hours is too long anyway, and it'll run 5 minutes over anyway. It'll have an overrun. But if it runs 10 to 15 minutes after that, sometimes it's run to almost 8:30. On the West Coast here, because I would try to watch it live at my friend's house, it's ridiculous. It's like you don't need to make it that long. And pay-per-views, especially WrestleMania 32, which was with the pre-show almost 7 hours. Absolutely ludicrous. And they kept trying to, tire the crowd out so they wouldn't boo Reigns. Oh, wait, that didn't work because no one wanted to see Reigns as champion again. But to be fair, they've hit some good notes on pay-per-views. But yeah, making them too long with the pre-shows, pay-per-views themselves, and afterwards, they've really botched this whole thing. And yeah, those are 10 things that WWE got wrong. So what are some things that you feel that WWE got wrong? Do you agree with my list? Do you disagree? Like, share, comment, and subscribe. My Twitter link, of course, is in the description. It's been Real Honesty with John Ritlin. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.